Hi guys, it's Candace. I know. Well, I'm just gonna cut a couple papers from here while I tell you my weekly story. Oh my god. I think I left off posting on Wednesday. I don't know if I told you my refrigerator was going out. So anyway, let me tell you about my Wednesday from hell, and it just kind of and just kept on going. So, I know. I guess we'll Okay, brick wall looks good. It's gardenish. So, I told you that my refrigerator was going out. So, and I've been babysitting, and of course I called the the repairman, butthole from where. Same man who, took forever to come out here to do my washer dryer. I think I want to do 4x6s on here. So I called, first thing Monday morning, left a message. Well, never heard back from him. So I called, before like 4 o'clock. Well, of course, he's already gone home for the day. And so then Tuesday morning, because, oh my gosh, because I'm trying not to lose the food that's in the fridge, which I lost half of it, and trying to keep Rusty's insulin from going bad, because it's got to stay cold. So, and I'm just making 4x6s for journal cards. And so I call first thing Tuesday morning. 8 o'clock, because they claim they open at 8. Left a message with that woman again, and told her, I never heard back from anybody. I need to see if and when he can come out here, because you claim to be appliance repair people. They charge you house calls and everything. So she's like, oh, well, I gave him the message yesterday. And, we're going to cut this. Well, I'm sorry. 6 and 3x6, or do I want to make it by 5 and 3x5s? Well, let's see, because I want to be playing with these little things. Okay, we need 6s. Anyway, that's easy. And I told her, I just need, I need somebody to call me back, and I need to know what to do. You need to take your name out of the flippin' phone book as appliance repair people service calls, because it doesn't happen. Well, anyway, didn't hear back from him. And let's do these 3 and 3x6s. I know. And so like at 11:55, oh my god, I call, because I'm trying to catch the guy whose name is John before he goes to lunch. Well, this other old man answers the phone, who I'm telling you, he must have had one tooth and a mouthful of chaw, because I could barely understand him. And I explained to him, well, I'm calling. I've called. This is my 4th phone call, and I really need somebody to give me a call back, because, I'm trying to keep insulin cool, and, you can't eat. Well, because I've thrown, stuff out. Anyway, so now I feel like crap, because I've had to go and eat. As you can tell, I've swollen my hands. I've eaten nothing but junk for forever, because I have no refrigerator. And I'm trying to keep Rusty's stuff cold. So anyway, so I don't hear back from Dilly Squat, because the man's like, oh, well, he's gone to dinner. I said, well, what time will he be back from lunch? He says, oh, about 1. And I'm like, okay, I'll call back at 1. So 1:15, I call. didn't want to, God forbid. I think I'm going to cut those again because I really like those. Let me look at this too. Because I didn't want to hear, oh, he might be running a little behind, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I know. I get sarcastic when I'm in one of them moods. Oh, I'm looking for my paper pad, which I've already lost. So I get the guy, because obviously they could tell the incoming call is that woman again. And so he answers, and I explain my situation to him, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, that was my fault. And, what's going on with your refrigerator? Oh my God, I have said this 4 times already, and that's what I hate. I hate having to repeat my flippin' self a million times. Yeah, I do. So anyway, okay, we're still doing 6s. So I tell him what's going on. Mind you, I tell him I have a side-by-side with ice maker and water dispenser on the freezer side. Well, do you have, what about your knobs? He goes, well, what about your knobs inside? And, because, of course he asked me what's going on, and I tell him it's flashing a code 6. And when, I had to Google, because, I couldn't get nobody to help me, and my son was being an asshole as usual, and, just told me Google it. So I'm not speaking to him for a while, because it led to other crap come Wednesday. Anyway, enough of that. So, I told him, I Googled it, and it said that you might have a short in your board, or the compressor needs to be cleaned or is going out or whatever. And I'm like, oh, right. So I learned over the weekend and all the way through Wednesday that as long as you don't open the freezer, you're good for about 3 hours. And then you got to watch, and then the little light bulb, that the little flashy thing starts flashing. Well, then when the flashy thing starts flashing, then you got to, okay, so I want to go here, and I got to think, because we're going, this has got a little directional, so we're going 6 this way, and then 4 that way, okay. And then you unplug it for 5 minutes to give the motherboard or whoever the heck is inside that machine time to reset. And then, which, it worked, and, like I said, you get a couple hours out of it, and then the next thing you know, you walk by, and it's not like a flashlight you can see, because it's, it's just dull on dull, because it's a LED, thing, and it doesn't, flash, hey, hey, hey. And I'm like, oh, crap. Well, mainly, I've kind of figured out when I'm trying to get ice, and I open it, and there's no ice, because it's melted already, and I'm like, oh, my God. So then I learned that I must check it every hour, which, I did. I started babysitting that puppy every hour. And, so, use the same thing as, let me see, I know, I know I got to think, because I got to make sure I'm going to cut them right. So, if we do 5 and 5 is 10, I might not be using these, oops, wrong way, but think for a minute. They're 5. Okay, we will. We'll do 5s. Okay, so 3 by 5 by 5 by 10. Okay, so we're going to cut it off 10, which would give us a 2-incher. Fine and dandy. Okay, and then we're going to cut them at 5, and then 3s. Okay. So, which is an index card size, 3 by 5. So I've, figured that all out, which, the worst part was overnight, because, you go to bed, you have ice and the refrigerator's cold, and, you wake up in the morning, and the thingy's flashing, you're like, oh my God, and you gotta, unplug it, reset it, blah, 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 and, because I can't let Rusty's insulin go bad. So anyway, after I talked to him, that, on Tuesday afternoon, I was a little pissy piss. And I told him, so, you know, I said, it'd have been nice. Oh, well, anyway, what he was telling me, I know, flashback, is that, you know, he asked me all these stupid questions. I'm like, oh my God. And you know, one of the questions, kind of like when he did the washer machine, and I'm like, if I knew that answer, I could have probably fixed it myself, but I don't. That's why I called you, because it says that you're an appliance repairman. He says, well, we prefer that you bring your appliance in. I'm like, who the hell can bring a refrigerator from a second-story house, just like the washer machine? And so it says that you do house calls. I mean, it's not like they're cheap house calls. Anyway, I know I'm raising my voice. 2 by, I know we'll do a 6er. And then he's like, oh, well, you know, in your freezer, do you have knobs? And I'm like, no, it's a digital display thingy. There's, you know, I'm like, I'll open it and see. Which, of course, water comes everywhere when you open the flipping refrigerator. I know. I'm thinking. So we got 3 by 5s like this. We have 4 by 6s, 2 by 8s. Boom, 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 boom. I guess we'll make... I really do like the 3 by 5s. Anyway, so I opened the freezer just to appease him, because I've already told him it's a digital thing with blah, 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 which means no cranky knobs. Okay? But, and he's like, oh, well, sounds like your display panel is, something's wrong with it. You think? That's what I said 4 times already. 2 times the day before and 2 times when I called earlier today. But anyway, I'm just a woman. No one listens to them. Just like when you listen to your wife. In one ear and out the other, like Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. So anyway, and he's like, oh, well, you know, I don't think there's much I could do for you. Sounds like you need to get a new refrigerator. That's not what it says on Google. It could be fixed. And, you know, I would have been happy to have spent $500 or $600 instead of what I ended up having to pay for the cheapest thing that they have out there. But anyway, so I'm like, well, thank you. I said, you know, someone should have just told me this yesterday morning on Monday, because I sure would have gotten in my car and drove, you know, an hour and 15 minutes away to Lowe's. Oh, well, we sell them here. I'm like, no, thank you. And I hung up on him. Because I'm sorry, that's all it was about, was that you wanted a freaking sale. And I'm sorry, whatever. So, Wednesday, so, you know, like I'd spent the day Tuesday on the phone between them and my attorney. You see how this finger doesn't go down? Well, throw that puppy out. I'm in a mood. Next, oh, anyway, so... breathe, Candace, breathe. So, Wednesday, I get up, you know, do the dog thing and get all, you know, check the refrigerator, make sure it's running, because, you know, I'm going to be gone for a while, and did I not know how long I was going to be gone, but I was going to be gone for a while. You know, like I said, it's an hour, 15 minutes there, hour, 15 minutes back, and, plus everything else you had to do. I had to return something at the UPS store. Remember, I told you I went there the Saturday before, and I was 15 minutes late, and they were, you know, closed. Sherwin-Williams, you know, was closed, but I couldn't stop at Sherwin-Williams, because I get in my car. Oh my gosh, look at the pebbles. I know. But I need something light. Okay, I like that. So let's get this. Maybe I just need one. So I get in my car Wednesday morning after, you know, I do, you know, I do the dogs and everything else. And, I'm in the truck because I have to get some, I know. I'm sorry. I have to get some wood for the chicken coop because I got to get that taken care of because Alan's having a coronary. They killed the two of the roosters. I know, I felt bad when I found out. When he told me that, I cried, but then I was like, well, it's over with. And because I knew that's probably where it's going to end up anyway, because even though I was going to dominate him, I just had this feeling that it wasn't going to happen because, you know, that's just how it is. So, okay, I'm at 6 and 4. Okay. So, like I said, get in the car early Wednesday morning, and that's why I didn't do a video because I was in a pissy mood Tuesday night. And then I had to get going because I had stuff to do. And like I said, I had to go to UPS store. Had to go to the tire place because my one of my tire sensors was like, hey, you need some air, and I'm like, oh my god. So, well, I hop in the car Wednesday morning. You know, I'm trying to leave at 9 a.m. because, you know, that's how long it takes me to do the dogs and everything else in the morning. So I get out in the truck. Click, click. I'm like, oh my god, because remember I told you Alan had to jump me off last time. And then the air conditioner was being weird. But anyway, I think I'm going to do these 4x6s too. But, I know, I could do 4x6s that way. Okay. No, wait, Candace. It would be going a 6 this way. So, and let me tell you, Wednesday was the hottest day. Because we're in another little heat wave. So I'm already sweaty, hot as can be. I jumped my car off. With the little car, which, you know, that's a big battery jumping off a little battery, or vice versa, which is, you know, not good for the little battery, but, well, I'm sorry, I needed you. So, I jumped him off, and, you know, I'm like, well, I need to go get my battery tested before I even head the opposite direction. So I had to go the other direction in town and go to AutoZone for them to test my battery. Well, stupid Candace turns off her car to go inside. We come back outside, click, click. I'm like, oh my god. So he's like, well, let me just, hold on, let me get you a jump. So he goes in there and gets his little jumpy thing, because, you know, oh, Lord have mercy. They have a jump box, I guess is what they call them. That's what I've learned. And, so, okay, now we need, shoot, 3x6s. Okay, so that by 6s. So he comes out and, you know, hooks his little machiney to the thing, and, you know, it cranks right up. Well, then he does his little testing thing with his battery tester. He's like, well, it shows your battery's fine. It's getting juice, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, I said, you know, my air conditioning is being weird. I said it was, you know, it was weird last week, you know, when I had to get it jumped off. And it had done it before, but it usually comes right back, you know, works. He's like, oh, well, we don't handle anything like that. He said, it sounds like it's, I don't want to call it actuator. And so you know, we go inside because I'm just pouring sweat because it ended up being 104 with real feel 110. I'm driving around with no air conditioning. So anyway, we go inside, and, you know, the man tells the guy what the thing he's doing, and I tell him about the air conditioner, because, I mean, it blows so hot it will turn your arm red. It's like fire on the left side, but the middle, which, you know, you have your middle vent has like a left here on the steering wheel, and on the right you have that one, which I guess is the left side that controls, and then the right side blows cold air. It's fine and dandy. And but man, it blows some hot air. And And the guy's like, oh, well, that's, tells me that actuator thing. And I'm like, well, can you recommend someone who's honest in town that does mechanics work? Because I didn't want to ask my neighbor Jim, because it was an air conditioning thing, and I knew that, that he couldn't do that. And so, I know, I'm going to go ahead and make these tags while I'm running my mouth. And I decided we wanted these to be some kind of tag. These are journal cards. Okay. You're going to be the little funky punch one. And you are 3x5, so we'll go in the rounded corner hole. I'm going to punch you. Yeah, I'm going to punch you all right. What the heck? Oh, I did cut 2 sheets. All right. You are up and downs, so you'll be tags too. And you are journal card. Long ways. Okay. All right. Anyway, I know now I'm sick. Well, as soon as I stopped taking the antibiotic, I got a sore throat, started feeling like crap, and then everything else. So anyway, so he gives me the name of a mechanic shop and tells me how to get there, because I've never been there. I don't know this person. And so I drive there, and I tell the guy, I leave the car on, my truck running, because I learned my lesson, and then I could see it from right, I didn't have, I had to go inside, but I could see the car and everything else. And I just soaking wet. Oh my God, I was so nasty. And I told him what was going on with the air conditioning, and he told me that, yeah, he agreed with with what the guy said there, that whatever that thing is. And I said, well, I need to make an appointment to bring it in so you can get it fixed, because I can't be without air conditioning. And he said, okay. So he made me an appointment for Monday, which is tomorrow, to drop it off at 8:30 in the morning. And so I asked my neighbor's wife, Julie, if she could, I'm trying to draw, I want rounded, if she could drop me off of there. And she's like, oh, no problem. So we no problem in a minute over there. Oh, and you go over here because you're one of these. Okay. I know I need a cheater. Too big for a cheat. So I got that scheduled. So anyway, I go to Gallatin. I go to UPS. There's always a line in there, so I couldn't leave the car running. And I thought, oh, well, surely it will start, because it's, charged and ran and tra-la-la-la-la. Return my items. Come back outside. Click. I'm like, oh dear God. So now the meltdown starts, because I'm like, oh. And so I'm out there, got my hood popped up, and this lady and her son was walking by, and I'm like, excuse me, could you give me a jump? And she's like, well, yeah. And so her son was probably 18. And so her son comes over there, and he's like, well, what's it doing? And I tell him, and he's like, it might not be your battery. And I'm like, what? And I told him, and I kind of said, well, I started off this morning needing to jump in myself. I said, I went to the place, they put the tester on there, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, oh, well, sometimes certain places don't test for alternators. And I'm like, oh, well, what's the point? Because, I do know that they kind of run hand in hand. Well, by now his mom has, driven up, and 2 other people have stopped. Do you need any help? I'm like, no, she's going to jump me off. And so she pulls up next to me. Well, this other man comes, and And because, we're still waiting, and she's, trying to wait for the person in front of me to back out because, you could tell that they're waiting on somebody at an UPS store. And so they finally come out so she can get in there to jump me. Well, while she's waiting, this other man, stops by, and he's like, "Do you need some help?" And, I tell him, and her son, and him start talking. He's like, "Well, I got one of these jumper things. I forgot what it's called. Anyway, a jumper thing. I know I'm trying to decide, do I want these to be around the corners? I want tags. A jump pack. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, because he had a big one. I mean, Alan had just a little one, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where'd you get that from? He said Harbor Freight. And I'm like, well, so now I'm like, well, how many jumps do you get off of it? And I says, you only get one per charge. He's like, oh, no. He says, you'll get, multiple. And because I've told him, what's happened and all the other fun stuff. And he also said, well, it might be your alternator. I said, well, that's what he said, pointing to the lady's kid. And he says, well, you need to go to O'Reilly's, which I almost went there. But, because, when you get to the main highway, and, Walmart's this way with Advanced Auto Parts, and O'Reilly's is that way. And I'm like, oh, and I tried calling my son to find out who would be the, the better place, because I didn't know. And, well, anyway, enough of that one. So I chose to go to Advanced Auto because nobody would help me. They didn't have time for their mama. So, another middle finger on that one. So I go to Advance, which obviously is the wrong thing. So the man from jumping me off at UPS told me to go to O'Reilly's. I said, well, I have to stop and get my tires checked because my sensor is flashing, giving me fits. And I'm just going to keep on with the tags, but I'm trying to decide, who looks the best. I know, I'm sorry. And he said, if you go to O'Reilly's, and I'm like, well, where's O'Reilly's in here? And he tells me where it's at. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, because it's next to Ace. Well, I never paid attention because I've been to Ace before there in Gallatin, but never looked. You got to go out of the driveway and go, but it's literally right next door. And so I said, okay. I said, I told him I have to go. Oh man, well, that just went everywhere. Had to go to the tire thing. And he's like, well, he says, if you have any more problems, he said, they should be able to help you. I'm like, oh no, I'd hope, because it's discount tires, but hopefully they should, have something. And so I go there and tell them what's going on, and he's like, well, turn your car off, let's see. Stupid Candace turns off her truck, and click, click. He's like, well, we only do tires here. And I'm like, oh dear God. I knew that. That's why I didn't want to turn it off. But I listened to you because I'm stupid. And so he jumps me off. He's like, yeah, you need to see a mechanic. Everybody say, effing duh. So, and he's like, well, if you want to, wait a while, you can maybe talk to one of the, the other guys in here that's been here a while. They might know. I'm like, no. I mean, like I said, air conditioner not working. I'm about to die. I mean, I am just a sweat mop, nasty, God. Praying, praying that stupid thing kicks on, which it hadn't yet. And I'm like, oh my God, please. It's too far home to not have air conditioning. And I'm whining. I'm whining in the car. Y'all know I am. And and I'm like, I'm so spoiled. I can't take this. Oh God, please. Please let me get home. Oh, let me have some air conditioning on the way home. And so, which Lowe's is literally, you got to go out the discount tire place, and Lowe's is right there behind them. No, I don't know who I want. I want little rounds on here. Medium. So, I go to Lowe's, knowing doggone good and well I'm going to need a jump. Because that's been my day. And so I go in there, get the refrigerator taken care of. I mean, I'm just, oh my God, I'm so hot, so sweaty, so gross. Because I've been everywhere without air conditioning. Oh. And, I'm driving down the road with the windows down. You're just, oh, God. And it did start halfway to town, it started. But as soon as you turn it off, well, it doesn't work again. So anyway, so I get the crazy refrigerator done. I get the wood taken care of that I think I need. And, I go out there. Click, click. I'm like, oh dear God, no. So I find this man who's, in over there by his truck. And so I walk over there. I have jumper cables in my hand, and I walk over there, and I'm like, excuse me, could you give me a jump? I mean, I look like this, near homeless person. I mean, but I'm not, shoot, I might be, but, and he's like, okay. So he pulls around, and he opens this thing. He's like, oh, well, I've never used my battery before to jump somebody. And I'm like, I mean, he's a contractor, and he's got this, he must be like the supervisor type contractor thing. I don't know. But and it's a newer vehicle, nice, fine Dodge Ram and all that good stuff. And, okay, I'm rounding these corners because I like the little roundy. So, he jumps me off. Do I want the big ones? No, I like the mediums. And I thank him. And I'm like, oh my God, I needed to go to, Sherwin-Williams because I need that paint stuff for the ceiling. Well, I knew how the parking lot is at Sherwin-Williams. There was no way anybody was going to be able to get to me to jump me off. And I had had enough. And so I just needed to go to O'Reilly's. So I start driving down the road. I pass, and let me tell you, I wanted to go to Ollie's, and then I wanted to go to the Goodwill, but no. So, I did go through Chick-fil-A. And let me tell you what, I have never in my life drank 2 large teas and got a refill. And I'm sitting outside because the car's running. But I mean, I chugged that first one down. And then I went through the drive-through. Well, actually, I asked this. I did. I left it running. Went inside. I was thirsty. And so when I went and got it the next time, I said, could you just give me tea? No ice. And then can I get a large cup of ice on the side? And they're like, oh, no problem. Dummy me should have did it in the first place, but I needed it. So, I got that. So I had my Stanley thermos cup, because that's the only thing I've been surviving on, something cool to drink. Because when I managed to get some ice, I could put a whole tray of ice in my Stanley thing, and that puppy stays cold all day, y'all. I have to tell you, that's the bomb. I know, maybe I'm gonna do these small, and that's the only thing that has kept me alive, is because I run hot, y'all, and I just need cold. I mean, drinking room temperature water just makes me thirsty, especially when it's hot. So I gimp it down to O'Reilly's. Well, oh my God, after I got the tea from Chick-fil-A, I mean, and I have a jacket. I always keep an emergency jacket in every car, you know, with toilet paper and all, you know, just in case, because you never know. I don't want to be stuck somewhere and not have toilet paper, and I don't want to be stuck somewhere and it's freezing and not have a jacket, you know, just a lightweight knit jacket. And I have a small little $3 Walmart blanket. I have a little, like, each car has a emergency tote in there. It's true. And, you know, John used to have emergency tote too, you know, because in the wintertime, you know, if anything happened, I just didn't want him to, you know, be frozen on the side of the road and not have, you know, water, because we had water in there. Like I said, a little blanket, a scarf, gloves, you know, just, you know, be prepared. That's, you know, Girl Scout and Boy Scouts have that for their motto for a reason. And there's a lighter. I mean, there is. I mean, it really is one of those things. So I have my emergency thing just in case. So, I mean, I pull out one of my little knit jackets, and I'm just wiping, because I have no, you know, no paper towels, no napkins or anything, because I've already used the ones I got from Chick-fil-A. And I'm just wiping myself because I'm drenched. Well, by the time I get out of Chick-fil-A, the air conditioner's working. I'm like, oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know these things are not straight. And so, you know, I make my way all the way down, crap monkeys, all the way down to my O'Reilly's that I need to go to. And, I mean, is there anybody that's even similar that I can get a two-puncher from? This one is. So I get down to O'Reilly's, you know, I leave it running, and I'm like, you know, anybody could steal it, but hey, trust me, you could go far as long as you keep jumping yourself. So I explained to the guy. He comes out and he, you know, does his little battery thing. He says, no, he says, your battery, you know, looks good. I said, well, that's what they told me. I said, this is how the day started. I said, advanced auto. He's like, oh no, you don't want to go there. And I'm like, well, I understand they're your competitors. I said, but I had a choice, turn left or turn right. I turned left, and I said, I made the wrong choice, which was the truth for the day. And, crud. So, and he says, yeah, he says, they're known. He says, yeah, they can check your battery. He says, but their machine doesn't check anything else. I said, I know. I said, I learned that the hard way. I said, the man who jumped me off at UPS told me that too. I said, so that's why I'm here, because he sent me here. And so he said, now it's going to take a few minutes for, you know, it to read, because he was checking the alternator. And, because he says, you got lights. He says, it's not your battery. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he said, it does take a little while. And I told him, so, you know, I already got a appointment for it Monday anyway, because, you know, I told him about the air conditioning stuff. And I said, but the air conditioner's running right now. I said, that's another reason why I didn't turn it off, because, you know, I needed air conditioning. Because I'm spoiled. Oh, and then I knew I had an hour, 15-minute, you know, other drive home, and I needed the air. You know, I love a rounded edge. Just do it, Candace. You know you anyway. But this way, I don't know. I'm going to leave it like that. Okay. I know. Sorry. And I think I'm going to leave these like that. Ow. See? I don't like them. We got tons of those. But I think I was, since this is going this way. But then I can't make a journal card. Okay. I know. I'm talking to myself. Trying to talk myself out of it. We're going to round the edges with the small one. So anyway, his machine does its business, tells me that the alternator failed, and he told me, the guy says, that's why it's doing the click. And I'm like, I said, well, what about the starter? He gives me a little schooling, and then he's like, well, no, it could be the starter. He says, but he says our thingy doesn't test for starters. he says, but it tests for the alternator, which, you know, he does, and he was showing me, you know, every time, you know, step by step, all of its reading and how it works. And he says, you know, he says, we're not here to try to screw you. And he says, but your alternator's bad. And I'm like, I told him, you know, I got the appointment Monday morning, you know, for the air conditioning thing. He's like, well, he says, we can sell you the part here and they can install it. And I'm like, well, do they normally install third-party people's stuff? He's like, well, some mechanics do, some don't. He says, give them a call and find out. And I'm like, okay. And I said, now if he says yes, I said, I'll come in and I'll buy it from you. And then, because I mean, you know, he, you know, did me a solid, and then the other guy can put it on Monday, you know, to add to my misery of going broke. Oh my gosh. So, so I called the mechanic and explained, you know, to him and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I said, oh, I'm like, you know, I need to make sure that I can make an appointment for longer than what's needed for the air conditioning thing. And I need to get the alternator done. Which, you know, I'm sure he's not going to order the part until it's officially there. And dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. But, oh well. That's just going to have to be how it's going to be. Because, you know, that's why I have 2 cars. Thank the Lord. Okay, so let's do little on here. And I told him, I says, by the way, because I didn't even ask prices or anything when I dropped off, because I was just so hot and heat stroke from earlier. And I didn't ask him squat. And so I told him, how much is this going to run? And blah, 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 blah. And, you know, he said, yeah, he said he would install it. He says, but if anything happens, he says, I don't warranty the labor. He says, here, you know, the parts warranted and the labor's warranted. And I said, yeah. So, well, they said that the parts warranted there, you know. I said, but I understand. I said, but I wanted to ask first. And he's like, okay. So he looked it up, gave me a price with, you know, installation, part, and blah, 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 blah. And it was like going to be, there's only $100 difference between what the part cost at O'Reilly's versus, you know, him and installing it and everything. So the guy at O'Reilly says, you know, he said if he's installing it and it includes all that, he said, I suggest you just go with him. I'm like, okay. I said, well, you know, I didn't want to, dang it, I know this paper's so thick, 3 doesn't fit. I said, I just didn't want to not, you know, get it from you if he would do it. And he's like, no. He says, just remember us, you know, in the future. I said, oh, I promise. I said, I will. And let me tell you, I will make sure I drive that direction next time if I ever need something. Uh-oh. To O'Reilly's. Oh, I hate when it gets in that mood. So, you know, now she's got an appointment for air conditioning repair and the alternator. Oh, I guess I got 3 somewhere because I only have 3 left. Let's see if we can shove them in there. So, yeah, I make it home. I don't stop anywhere, do anything other than go through McDonald's drive-thru to get food now because, you know, oh my God, I'm hungry again. It's time for that, and I know I needed some food when I get home. So I get home. Oh my God. But yes. Okay, so that was my Wednesday. I mean, I call it Hell Wednesday because it was a Wednesday from hell. It was so hot. Oh my gosh. And I'm just was so over the day. Ow, that's too thick. And then, of course, I tried calling my son to get some information or, you know, some suggestion, some advice. And he's like, I don't feel like talking to. I said, you're going to talk to your mama. I mean, you know, I was serious because I was hot. I was pissed. He had already been rude to me earlier that day. And you know, and he's like, well, he says, you know, I don't like you calling me at work. I'm like, Robert, I don't call you at work unless I need something. And I said, because, I truly don't. And the only times I've ever called him a hair of a time was car related, air conditioning related to when the house air conditioner broke. I mean, and I told him, I said, well, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, my shit don't break between 8 at night and 8:30 at night when you got 30 precious minutes you could talk to me. He's like, Mama, I don't like talking on the phone. He said, I'd rather text, and you don't like text. And I was pissed. I'm like, just forget it. I said, and I started crying because I had had a day, and I expected my son to give me a hot freaking minute to help me with, you know, the situation, make sure it was a good price, and blah, 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 blah. So I hung up on him. Well, you know, like 15 minutes later, he texts me back and says, if I call you, will you answer? And I text back, nope. Because I told him, I'm tired of you. Because he does. He's very short with me. Never has time for me. But by God, when he calls, he expects you to freaking answer the phone and expect you to answer his questions, whether he's complaining about Brooke, bragging about something he's just bought, or has a question about some stupid buying house mortgage, or how come my house note's gone up again. Same shit. Taxes and insurance goes up every year. But anyway, so, and then, oh, he comes back with some of his crap. Well, in the last 90 days, you've called me 32 times. I'm like, BS. So I'm looking on my thing, which it doesn't go back. Oh, I can't find 30 days on 90 days on my thing. Or, yeah, since March. He said since March. And I'm like, and I was pissed because he had his little attitude. Because he wrote down some stuff, and so I sent him back with number 1, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, number 2, if I called you 32 times since March, I says, matter of fact, March is when I had pneumonia, and I was sicker than a dog, and I was calling you just in case. And my doctor called you because you're my emergency contact. And, you know, so now we're in a pissing contest because we are related. But I never treat him like he does me, and I'm tired of it. That's just all there is to it. So anyway, I know I have these. I just want to use some of the. Oh, I love those. So anyway, he comes back with all his little crap, and then he throws Emily into it. You know, about, I'm sure Emily doesn't answer your things when she's working, trying to make money. And I didn't reply to that one because, you know, matter of fact, Emily did. Whenever, you know, because I don't call Emily between 7:30 at night to 7:30 in the morning, because that's her shift. She works, you know, she's a night shift at the hospital. So that's her, you know, her things. But she always texts me back, and if she's off, she calls. So she texts me, and she says, Mimi, she says, I'm working. She says, you know, she said, I can text, but I can't talk right now. And I'm like, that's okay. I said, I just needed someone to talk to. I said, it's been a shitty day. And I said, and Robert made me cry. And she's like, I can call you at 10:30 after meds. And I want to see if there's another one of those with the little yellow flower on top. And she's like, but if you need me right now, she goes, I can text and talk. And I'm like, no. I said, it's gonna be okay. I said, I've had a bad day. It's been a shitty day. And I said, and Robert was just being a dick. And that's exactly what I said, because he was. And I like those tall ones. I don't know if I'm going to use them on there, but I probably don't have another one of those. And and she's like, are you sure? She said, because I'll, you know, I can. Oh, that's got a flower on it. Oh, he's too tall though. She said, but I know we might just use him on the other one. I mean, and I understand, you know, but the fact is that she answered. She was kind, she was nice, and not rude to me, as one's other son is. So anyway, okay, he's a onesie. Oh wait, nope, that's a different thing. So yeah, then Robert unloaded on me with his little attitude, which pissed me off. You know, and I replied to his little numbers, and I told him, said, I'm not gonna have a pissing contest with you. And I said, but this, that, and the other. And so he's like, well, I apologize, and something else. You know, but when he apologized with attitude. And, you know, which I'm sorry, rubs me the wrong way. So anyway, so I'm just totally mad at him and over him. Oh, do I want that? I don't have two of them. So anyway, oh, maybe that one on that one. No, you're too. You know, even though that's really not that bad. I don't know how it looks in camera, but you know, in person, it's not so bad. All right, what other scraps? I know I'm digging over here in the nearest Jenga pile to me. I know I want to look. I know, and here we go. Trouble in Paradise. Oh, but this is tall. Wait, hold on, back. Oh, I did like that better. How's this look on here? Not so bad. Okay. I know, but I don't want to fight with it. So anyway, so yeah, so like, you know, then since I didn't reply back, because I was done, and I told him, so don't you worry. I said, you don't have to worry about me ever calling you again, because I mean, he wrote, you know, that thing, you know, I was assholes to eyeballs with the customer, and you know, trying to do this and I can't talk to you. I'm at work. I'm making money. Oh, that pissed me off. And then he said, then he has to go in, throw in shit about his sister, and then about Emily, about, you know, I guarantee you Emily doesn't stop what she's doing to answer you when she's, you know, taking care of patients and blah 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 blah. Well, I didn't reply to him on that one because, you know, that was, to me, you know, now you're in the middle of a piss. I call it a piss and match, because, you know, you're just trying to one up each other, and so I replied to a couple, and I told him, so I'm not getting a piss and match with you, and I, you know, reminded him of a few things, and that's what I told him. So don't worry, you don't have to ever worry about me calling you again. I mean, I'm fit to be tied with his shit. Oh, that is, crowns go that way. So, yep. So that's how my Wednesday ended. With me crying, again, because my son was an asshole to me, again. And I'm tired of it. So, you know, if you can't be nice to your mama, and I see why you and Brooke have problems, because you're an ass. Anyway, I'm tired of being treated like that, so I'm just done. So then, you know, like an hour or so later, he texts. He's like, I know you don't want to hear from me, and you won't talk to me if I call. He says, but, you know, just want to let you know Ozzy Osbourne died, and so did Hulk Hogan, and I know that. Anyway, and I think I want something long on there. Let's look underneath the. That's trash. The Magical Mystery Tour bus. So, but yeah. Yep. And then poor Emily, she's texting me, Mimi, are you okay? And, even though after I had told her, don't worry, we'll talk, on your day off. And I said, I'm okay. It'll be okay. And, but I just wanted somebody to talk to because my heart was broken because my son's an ass. And I'm tired of, taking his crap. Oh, and then he's like, one of his things like, well, I'm sorry that, I talked the way that I did, because I'm sure Brooke is, telling him whatever. I don't care. You're a douchebag. And, he says, but I just have the typical blunt Candace reply. And I wanted to reply so bad, telling him, I'm blunt, I'm straight to the point, but you know what? I'm not like that with my kids unless you've pissed me off. But he's like that all the time. And like I said, I'm tired of it. So anyway, I don't like that, too much green on green. So yep. And then, since I didn't reply to whoever's dying, or died, he's like, oh, the Happy Gilmore 2 comes out. I don't care. I don't like Happy Gilmore. So anyway. So yep. So that was my Wednesday. So I was just over it. Thursday, well, supposedly they're supposed to deliver the refrigerator on Thursday. That didn't happen. When I called to check on their little, here, check your order status thing, it shows delivery for Friday. And I was like, oh, typical, but I'm like, okay, I can do it again. We can, we can get through another day of no refrigerator. We play because we were getting to the every 30-minute type thing. Every 30 minutes you got to go over there, check it, and if the little fast cooling fan thingy wasn't twirling, you had to unplug it and reset it. And yup. So it takes a lot of your time, and it's just I have to make sure that Rusty, his insulin oh my God, no, that his insulin stayed cool, because I was waiting. Okay, now I do want, well, we're just gonna put it on top of there. Let's just smush it down. But yeah, oh my gosh, the every 30-minute thing. Oh Lord, that's some hard work trying to keep that refrigerator cold. I can tell you that much. But I did. I kept it cold for Rusty, because like I said, I lost all the other stuff in there. But I did keep like ketchup, mustard, salad dressings and stuff like that, because I figured it'd be okay, and cheese, because I had just bought a whole pack of cheese slices for the dogs, and I'm like, there's just things that I was trying to keep going. So anyway, and I had like little ice packets, because when the freezer would freeze, I'd put the little ice packets in there, and then I would take them and put them all around the stuff. So when it wasn't working, but so then Thursday, I didn't get any text saying when your delivery time was going to be. Oops, scoochie, we want the leaf. So then I, go and look on the thing, check my little status thingy jiggy, and it says, oh, you're scheduled to be delivered on Friday. I'm like, oh, of course it's on Friday. Yet another lie. But, I calmed down, because I'm like, okay, I can make it till Friday. And, because, it clearly showed Friday. So I'm like, okay, I can do this. And, I know. So,
And then I was so sick Thursday, and it had to be heat stroke. I don't know. Just pure heat exhaustion. I mean, I kept a headache all day. Was so thirsty. I drank like 3 of the little electrolyte packs with water, and then, like I said, of course, I have no ice because, so I had to drink at room temperature. But oh, I was desperate. So, and then, like I said, just didn't have enough cold to go into my hot body. So then, Friday morning, bright and early, they text me that your delivery window will be from 11:30 to 3:30. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I start cleaning the refrigerator because, like I said, I was using all the extra, frozen. Well, some of the frozen stuff I had already gotten rid of the food and everything because, but like all the ice packs and stuff, I had kept them in there. But I was throwing out all the food stuff now. And what was left over that I knew, I was like, nah, I better not keep that. So I got all that done, got it all clean and stuff. And brought it down to the trash can and waiting. Because it says, oh, you're number 5. Well, I figured I was the last stop. No. The poor people had 14 delivery stops. And I'm like, and by the time they got to me, it was like 4:45. So, and I really like that. I know I might have to put a block on there. So, but, oh, trust me, they didn't come without issue. I mean, I'm waiting. 3:30 comes and you get the little text, oh, your order has arrived. And I'm like, no, it ain't. And I looked out the door, and there's nobody down at the gate in the car. And I had already called the people earlier to make sure that they understand. And I should have drove down there and put a note on the damn gate. But I thought you was smart enough. Nope, not smart enough. Okay, not smart enough. So I go down to. I need a big label. Okay. I call. Okay, I call and tell them, what's going on. And I says, it says that it's been delivered, but it hasn't been delivered. And, I want to make sure that they know, have the sense, but that they know to, I know I'm going over, to open the gate. And she's like, well, surely, ma'am, they know that. Nope, they don't. So my neighbor calls me, Jim, and he's like, did they deliver your refrigerator? I'm like, no, I'm still waiting. I said, and he's like, well, they just parked in your driveway, waited a minute and pulled off and left. I'm like, no, they did not. I said, they left. He's like, yeah. He says, they effing did. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm panicking. And pissed. Y'all know I am. And, so I'm calling. Well, you can't get through to a human. I'm trying to catch them before they go too far down the road because I don't want them not to, come back because it's an hour and 15 minutes. If I got to, to drive back there and tra la 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 la. And, oh, I like that there. Covers that little dead end. So I'm on hold. Dear God. And the woman's like, oh, well, I finally get a human. She's like, oh, well, we have no way of getting in touch with them. I'm like, I know everybody and their mother has a cell phone nowadays. And I am. Oh, I'm using some attitude because I'm pissed. And like I said, my children come by it naturally, but, I am kind until you piss me off. And anyway, so she's like, well, you need to give them an hour past the delivery time before you worry. And I'm like, no, I'm already worried. I said, because if they don't deliver, then they'll be heading back to wherever they came from. And I said, and I have to have this refrigerator day. And so I hang up on her. Because she's pissed me off. And I'm sorry, you cannot tell me this day and age you can't reach your people. So then I call the store number. Oh, dear God, what a waste of time. They put you on hold, and I explained to the guy what's what. He's like, oh, let me transfer you to the delivery service people, and da-da-da, they can help you. Well, they transfer me to the delivery thing, all in the meantime, because now I'm on the home phone, because just in case they're trying to reach me on my cell phone. But, all this time, I'm scared to death that they've already, decided, well, she's not there. We're just going to go to the next one, or we're heading back. And so my blood's boiling. And when the guy transferred me, oh no, he doesn't transfer me to a for real anybody answer delivery, whatever, third party delivery company, cock-a-bull poop. It was a recording, and it had a recording that said something about like we're unable to answer your call now. Please leave a message. Oh my God, I was fit to be tied. So, I know, I'm just wondering if I need some color. But you could put a date and write and journal and tra-la-la on there too. So I called back the 800 number for the customer service people. I'm on hold. I'm on hold. And then on the home phone, I'm calling the store back, trying to get a human there again. Well, busy signal. Busy signal. Oh, now Candace is just having a conniption fit. Because I need a human. I love that. And, so I hang up and I keep trying. Finally, I get through. And, I get that man. And I recognize his voice. He says something, and I said, no, don't even bother transferring me to any third-party delivery thing. I said the phone that you transfer me to is bullshit. I said, I want a manager. I need my stuff taken care of now. And I said, I don't know where these people are, if they've left, and blah 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 blah. And yeah, crazy came out. And so I guess over there, even though I kind of liked it better over there a little bit. Oh well, it's too late. It's adhered. So anyway, so the manager gets on there, and I try to explain to him, well, okay, I'm not explaining. I am talking loud, pretty much yelling, because I've just had it. But I do keep telling him, I'm sorry that I'm talking to you in this way. I said, but I can't calm down. I said, I'm just fit to be tied. I said, I need some help. And and he says, well, hold on, let me see what I can do. Well, then my phone's ringing. And I'm like, I said, hold on, sir. I said, there's another number calling me. And so, but it was the third-party delivery people that were calling me. And he's like, oh, well, the people have been trying to get in touch with you. They can't have access to your house. I said, it's a damn gate with a chain on there. There's no lock. All you got to do is open it. I said, you can see where the driveway comes out. And I said, could you please tell them to come back and deliver, wherever they're at, please stop with, to come back. And the guy's like, well, hold on, let me, just don't hang up. Let me get back to you. He said, let me talk to them. He don't come back. Oh my God. And then I ring through to, I know I don't want all green, but I'm kind of thinking maybe do I want some over here. Then he rings me back to the call center with this stupid people in, oh dear God. I'm like, no, I was talking to a human who was with the third party do-boppy thing, and that was talking to them, and I know there's that one. And I said, and I really need them back. And I says, and she's like, oh well, ma'am, she says, you need to call this number. I said, I don't want to call no other number. I said, I want somebody to help me. I mean, y'all know it. Oh, Cock-a-doodle-doo. That's all I can tell you. I know he needs something over here. I don't know what I need. I don't know, That's kind of funky and unexpected, and I kind of like it. So anyway, she puts me through to these people, and the guy's like, they're coming back. I'm like, oh, thank God. And so I decided I better get in my car and drive down there and open the gate. So I do. And they come in. Well, I did not know they're in this huge moving van type delivery truck. Like a Mayflower type. Okay, not that but that tall. But a huge box, type car delivery thing. And I think I'm just gonna put it like that just to have something like that. Well, they cleared the first tree, but their vehicle is so tall they can't go underneath the second tree. Even though the dump trucks that did the driveway and everything were able to, I tell you, this truck was massive. Anyway, okay, I'm good with that. So they back up. I don't know how they backed up on in the curves and all that good stuff, because y'all, I can't. I can't. Oh Lord, no, I can't back up. So I get in my car and I drive back down there, and I'm like, oh my God, just knock the branch down. He's like, oh no, ma'am. He says we made it through the first one because I could hear the. He says, but there's no way, and the other one is a tree. I mean, a tree, big old tree, and I'm like, well, what are we gonna do? He's like, well, can't we put in that pickup truck? The pumpkin that's down there that's broke. And I'm like, no, it's broke. It don't work. He's like, oh. I'm like, exactly. And I'm like, I said, let me call. I think this one. I said, let me call my neighbor, because Jim was home, and see if will bring his truck over here, and we put it in there. I said, if we could do it that way, I said, will you deliver? He's like, oh yeah. He said, no problem, we can do that for you. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord. So Jim comes over with his truck, and they get it in there. And get it delivered up here and all that good stuff, get it all done. Then they I know, here we go. I know, it's just all my mouth running. We'll do those and play on another one. But they got it delivered, they got it set up, they do whatever. It finally started pooping yesterday and making ice, because our water pressure is so low right there. I don't know, I think, anyway. So it finally started making ice, but now I got to dump all that, and then, because you're not supposed to use, the first couple of them. So anyway, so I got a refrigerator. It's here. It's working. Oh, it's naked as can be, because there's only like probably 15 things on the door, and 4 things in the fridge. And then the truck is stuck. It's just kind of parked in the middle of the road in the driveway, because I turned it off before, thinking, and that's just where it's going to stay until I jump it off tomorrow to bring it to the auto mechanic, so it can get his alternator fixed and my air conditioning. Oh God, please, please, please. I know it's going to be an expensive trip, but I don't want to be that expensive. So yes, please, a little prayers that the air conditioning is on the lower end easy fix, because y'all, I can't afford another refrigerator repair. Well, it wasn't a repair, but the price tag of that thing. But, oh my gosh. So, Yeah. So I know I'm behind as usual. I'm late, and I'm sorry. I apologize, but let me tell you what. It was a crazy, and I need some green over here over on this side too. It was a crazy Wednesday, which led to a meltdown on Thursday because, oh my God, it's too much. And any of you people out there whose car air conditioning is broken and you driving around sweating your butt off, oh my God, hats off to you that you can handle it, because I can't. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, it's just too much for me. So anyway, so enough of them, of my little wham. But yeah, we made something. We cut a bunch of things, but that was my Monday, my Tuesday, waiting around, making phone calls, playing, restart the refrigerator, and then Wednesday, oh my gosh, oh what a day, and then, Thursday, oh yeah, no, too pukey, and then Friday, playing the games with the refrigerator. Oh my God. But thank God they were able to get it here. But I had to be out in the heat again and just, ugh. So then here we are. Oh, and then I just missed yesterday. I don't even know what the heck I did yesterday. I don't even know. Because today's Sunday, I think. I don't even know what day it is anymore. So anyway, I'm late. I'm going to go get this posted. And then I will see you on the next video. Thanks for listening, for those who stayed. And thanks for listening to my whine. But oh my gosh, guys. Please. Can I just go the rest of the year? I mean, I only need August through December. Can I have a good August through December? Please. All right. Well, I'll see you on the next video. Lots of kisses, lots of love. Y'all have a great day and a blessed day. Bye, guys.